Okay, so let's be honest. Budgeting can sometimes feel like, not that again, you know, like a chore.
Right. Like you're being told to skip all the fun stuff.
Exactly. And nobody wants that. So today, we're going to kind of flip that script a bit.
Yeah.
We're diving into this Finshots Money Resolution number 2, and they have some surprisingly fun advice about budgeting.
Yeah, Finshots, they're great. They take these complicated financial things and make them super easy to understand.
Exactly. So they don't start by telling us like, hey, cut all spending immediately.
Right. It's not about that at all.
So where do they start?
Awareness.
Okay.
They really stress that you need a clear picture of where your money's actually going before you even think about changing anything.
So before we even make a budget.
Before the budget even starts, you got to download those bank statements. You got to go through them like with a fine-tooth comb, really.
Okay, so we're talking serious nitty-gritty detail here.
Absolutely. And even those little cash withdrawals, we all do it. Like $20 here, $30 there. You got to track it all.
Oh, man. The cash withdrawals, those are my downfall. It's like, where did it even go?
Right. But it adds up. And that's kind of the point here, to illuminate those blind spots.
Makes sense. You can't make a plan if you don't know where you're starting from.
Exactly. And this is where it starts to get interesting.
Okay.
Finshots gives this example of someone who thought they were pretty good with money. Then they did this whole bank statement exercise. And they were like, wait a minute, I'm spending how much on fancy groceries? Like all the gourmet stuff
Right.
really added up.
So it's about finding those like hidden patterns in our spending.
Yeah. Those aha moments where you suddenly see your habits with fresh eyes.
So how do we take all this awareness and actually turn it into like a real budget?
Well, one method that Finshots mentions is the 50.30.20 rule. Have you heard of that one?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but to be honest, it always seemed kind of like oversimplified to me.
Right. So 50% of your income goes to necessities, 30% is for wants, and then 20% is for savings and debt repayment.
Yeah.
It's a good starting point for sure, but maybe not perfect for everyone. Right. If you have a ton of high interest debt, maybe you want to tweak those percentages. Or like if your housing costs are super low, you might have more wiggle room for those wants.
So it's more like a guideline than like a strict rule.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about finding what works for you. And I really appreciate that about Finshots. They emphasize that budgeting shouldn't be about deprivation.
Okay, good. Because I was worried we were going to have to like cut out all the fun stuff.
No, like if those gourmet treats are important to you and you can make them fit in your plan, then go for it.
That's a relief.
Yeah.
But what about people who like just hate spreadsheets and tracking every penny? Is there another way?
There is. Finshots talks about this alternative called the net worth method.
Okay.
So instead of tracking every single expense, it's more of a big picture approach.
Yeah.
You focus on the overall growth of your finances.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this net worth method. How does it actually work?
So you basically look at your assets, which is everything you own, and then subtract your liabilities, which is everything you owe. So are your assets growing faster than your liabilities? That's what you want to see.
So I don't necessarily have to like obsess over every latte or takeout meal.
Not necessarily. It's more about the big picture. Are you saving and investing regularly? Is your debt going down? Are you building wealth over time?
That's really cool that Finshots gives us these options because there's no one right way to budget.
Exactly.
It's about finding what works best for your personality.
Yeah.
And speaking of personality,
Oh.
Finshots even throws in a little fun. They have a secret budgeting tip and a song recommendation.
To keep you motivated.
Wait, a song recommendation.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so we're obviously going to keep the secret tip under wraps for now.
Of course. I got to keep them coming back.
Right. But the song is Thrift Shop by Macklemore.
A classic.
It's all about finding value and not being afraid to be thrifty, which honestly is perfect for a budgeting mindset.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've gotten real with ourselves about where our money's going. We've looked at a couple of different budgeting frameworks like the 50.30.20 rule and the net worth method.
Right.
And I'm really liking that Finshots doesn't make it all about restriction. It's more like making friends with our finances.
Yeah, absolutely. But like any good friendship, it takes work.
So true.
Yeah.
So Finshots doesn't just leave us with awareness.
No.
They give us the tools to actually make some positive changes.
Exactly.
Because honestly, knowing is one thing, but changing our habits, that's where the magic happens, right?
100%. And one thing that Finshots really stresses is that budgeting, it's a process.
Yeah.
It's not like a one and done thing. You got to keep at it.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
Like making a super detailed budget, and then life happens, and I completely fall off track.
Happens to the best of us.
And then I just feel like a failure.
Yeah.
which is not helpful at all.
I hear that, which is why flexibility is so important. Your budget should adapt to your life,
Yeah.
not the other way around.
Okay, so it's more about setting guidelines and then adjusting as needed.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices.
Right.
Choices that align with your values and your goals.
So like going back to that example from Finshots with the gourmet groceries, if those are something you really value and you can fit them in your overall plan, then there's no need to feel bad about it.
Exactly.
It's not about deprivation. It's about prioritizing what matters to you.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Unexpected expenses happen. How do you plan for those?
That's a good question. Finshots recommends taking a look back at your spending. Over the past few months, notice how often those surprise costs come up.
Like car repairs, birthday gifts,
Yeah.
the dreaded vet bills.
All of that. By actually factoring those occasional expenses in, you're creating a more realistic budget. That won't get completely blown up by like one flat tire.
So it's like budgeting for the unexpected.
Yeah.
Building in that little cushion.
Precisely. And for folks with a variable income,
Ooh, yeah, freelancers, entrepreneurs.
all those folks whose paychecks might not be the same every month.
I feel like that's a lot of people.
Right. Finshots has a cool strategy. They say to look back over several months and see how you naturally adjust your spending based on your income. So do you tighten your belt when you know a lean month is coming? Or do you spend a little more freely when you have a windfall?
That's so smart. Because then you're aware of your tendencies and you can plan accordingly.
Right. It's all about understanding those patterns. So
Yeah.
you can make informed decisions no matter what your income level is.
It's about being proactive instead of reactive.
100%. And this all ties back to that initial step, awareness. The more you understand your own spending habits, the better equipped you'll be to create a budget that actually works.
Right. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To feel empowered and in control of your finances instead of stressed out about them.
For sure. Feeling like you're working with your money, not against it.
I love that.
Mm.
Okay, so before we wrap things up, remember that secret budgeting tip that Finshots mentioned?
Yes. And that killer song recommendation.
It's time for the big reveal. Ready to move on to the final part of our deep dive.
Let's do it.
All right, we are back for the final part of our budgeting deep dive with Finshots. Remember that secret budgeting tip and that awesome song recommendation?
Oh, yeah, it's time to spill the beans.
Okay, I am ready. Hit me with it.
It's visualization.
Visualization.
Yeah.
Like I'm picturing myself on a beach with tons of money. Is that what they mean?
Well, manifesting abundance is always good. But Finshots is talking about visualizing your financial goals.
Okay.
What do you really want to do with your money? Buy a house, travel the world, retire early. Really picture yourself living those dreams.
Ah, so it's about connecting your budget to like a bigger purpose.
Exactly. It's not just about what you're cutting back on. It's about what you're working towards.
I like that.
Hmm.
When you have a clear vision of what you want, it's way easier to stay motivated and make those tougher choices.
Right. Skipping that impulse purchase, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice anymore. It feels like an investment in your future.
That is such a good way to think about it. And you know what? This ties in perfectly with that song recommendation, Thrift Shop by Macklemore.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about finding value and being resourceful, which helps you reach your goals faster.
Absolutely. And Finshots even takes the visualization thing a step further. They suggest creating a visual representation of your progress,
Okay, how do you mean?
like a chart to track your savings, or a vision board with pictures of your goals. You could even just put a sticky note on your fridge.
Oh, I love that. A little reminder every time you open the fridge.
Well, exactly. It keeps those goals top of mind, especially on those days when you're tempted to overspend.
I am all about those visual reminders.
Yeah.
So for me, what really stood out from this whole deep dive
Yeah.
is that budgeting doesn't have to be this restrictive, joyless thing.
Hmm.
Finshots has such a positive and empowering approach.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
it's all about understanding yourself, your values, your goals, and then using a budget as a tool to get you there.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about taking control of your money and making it work for you.
So to everyone listening, if you could achieve one financial goal right now, what would it be? Pay off debt. Save for a down payment. Finally, take that dream vacation.
Whatever it is, let that be your motivation. Write it down, visualize it, and use these strategies we've talked about.
Yes. And don't forget, Finshots has a ton of resources to help you out, including a free budgeting template on their website.
So go check it out, finshots.com.
This has been such a great deep dive. I hope you all learned something and maybe even got a little inspired. Happy budgeting, everyone.